Hi. All right, I just wanted to give you a quick overview of the some of the parent sessions that I can deliver. The first one is the most popular series, which is the Triple P discussion group. So within that series, there are four workshops for parents. For each workshop, the parent gets their own copy of their book. So this one is Managing Fighting and Aggression. The fighting and aggression one is excellent for where we have, it's particularly good leading up to school holidays where parents have more than one child and there's likely to be conflict in the home, and where parents can get really frustrated and worn down with their kids fighting with each other. So that's a fantastic one for fighting and aggression. Also where a child might be just exhibiting some aggressive behaviour generally. So that's a fantastic one in those circumstances. The dealing with disobedience by far is my favourite topic to present on. I found that parents are most engaged in this, and really if we haven't got compliance with our kids, then really all else is lost. So this one for me is the most popular one, the one that I find parents get the most value from. So it's called Dealing with Disobedience. Really it's about how do you get your kids to be compliant and to follow instructions. And also this has some really good applications for staff. So there's really useful strategies that staff can use there as well, and to try and get that shared approach with their between home and the education setting. So that's dealing with disobedience. This one is only relevant in certain cases, but can be a real lifesaver. So we all know when our sleep is, when we're not sleeping well, or when our kids aren't sleeping well, that things generally go pretty poorly for us. So this one is about developing good bedtime routines. Super important, particularly for those parents where it's been a real issue. We go. What I like about this one is that we go through a series of different approaches. So sometimes different services will only really offer one approach, and for example, if you don't like controlled crying and that's the approach that service uses, then you're kind of a bit stuck. Or some may have a more gentle approach, and that's not really comfortable with where the parent's at, or the parent's wanting or needing a more expedient result. So this one has three different or graded approaches that we can use with parents, where parents get to choose one that they will focus in on, and really it just depends on what they're comfortable with as a parent and what they'll find they get the if they're in a hurry, for example, or if things are more urgent, then you can just ramp up the level of intensity in terms of the strategies. So that's the developing good bedtime routines. And the fourth and final one, it's become a little less relevant now, but it's hassle-free shopping. With the event of online shopping, it's not as prevalent now in terms of the tantrums that you'd have in the shopping centre. However, it's the strategies in here are equally relevant for when you're taking your child into any public setting, really. So whether it be the shops, whether you take them to doctor's surgery, whether you're taking them to pick up their older siblings at school. So strategies are really good for when you're taking kids out in public, and often they have those meltdowns or those tantrums and they're quite public, and you're like, what am I going to do? How am I going to support my child, or how am I going to get through this? So that's quite a helpful one in that instance. So they are the four discussion group workshops. Each one of those is around an hour and a half. You can find they can go up to 2 hours in terms of parent engagement, and parents get their own copy of their workbook, which effectively means they get to develop their own plan, which I think is probably one of the most helpful bits. So they actually get to take the book away, which has all the great, really rich information, plus they get to develop their own plan in the course, in the session. All right. So the other ones is there are three seminar series, and they have these little purple, or they're really condensed information, and they're open. Let's see if I can open that up. So they're a front and back, and really rich source of information. So there's three of them. The first one is The Power of Parenting. Really, this is Behaviour 101. This is the absolute grassroots stuff that that every parent really needs to know. The Power of Positive Parenting goes on to talk more about why most of us didn't have kids to be at them all the time. So it goes through how do we set up a really good foundation, and really gives parents a great understanding of how and why kids behave the way they do and what they can do about it, and goes through some really simple, concrete strategies that form the basis of a lot of the other Triple P strategies in the suite, and it's just a really great place to start. So this is known as Seminar 1, but its title is The Power of Positive Parenting, but really gives an excellent foundation for helping understand and guide your child's behaviour. The second one, known as Seminar 2, incidentally, is Raising Confident Children. Competent children. If I hold that still, I think you can read that. So there they go through 6 building blocks for success, and we'll go through things like helping your child to show respect, which is a pretty universally accepted value, teaching your child to be considerate, teaching your child good communication and social skills. We know when children have difficulties interacting socially or difficulties communicating, that we experience a lot of undesirable behaviour. So this goes through how do we teach our kids some of these really core foundation skills. I ran a workshop like that recently, and we had some excellent parent engagement, and we started off at a sort of we had a smaller group. We thought we'd be in and out in under an hour and a half, but we were there talking for quite some time longer because parents were so engaged in the topic. So that's known as Seminar 2. The final seminar in the series is Seminar 3, which is Raising Resilient Children. Now, whilst the topic and the content information within is the same, every facilitator will have a slightly different take on this. Being male and having a son, for me, the flavour I put into this is about how do we raise resilient children, and for a lot of this, for those of us raising boys, is about how do we give our young men the emotional vocab that they'll need to make it through life. We're finding, in high school settings and even in primary school settings now, our mental health concerns and our suicide incidents, even in quite younger children, is becoming more prevalent, really concerningly. So this goes through how do we help our children to recognise, identify and deal with emotions, how to identify and recognise comfortable and uncomfortable feelings, and again goes through, like the last one, the Seminar 2 goes through 6 building blocks that are different. So how do we express feelings appropriately, how do we recognise, understand and accept feelings, what are some different ways of coping, how can we teach our kids to cope with the ups and downs of life and teach them to be effective problem solvers. So this one is a really foundation. It's got a different flavour. The other ones are more behavioural orientated. This one has a really great social and emotional flavour to it, and in terms of how we teach your child to be more resilient. So they are the suite, the seminar series and the discussion group. So the seminar series are in the purple, the discussion groups are in the orange. So I just wanted to give you a quick overview to see which your parents or as a parent you might be interested in attending. All right, thanks for watching. Any questions, let me know.